What's up, guys? TCG here. Today we have the Banlist prediction because we're getting very close to the end of the WCQ season. I think the Banlist should be released at around 29th and 30th of June, the week after that, because that's when the European WCQ is. And the official Konami site says that we will not get the Banlist no sooner than July 1st, so I think that's what they have in mind. Because when the WCQ season is over, the only thing that's left is for the World Championship, but the World Championship is a completely different story from the TCG, so I don't think they will keep in mind that they can leave all these decks that are being played right now just for the World Championship. So I think this is going to be a decisive ban list because after the WCQ season, all the decks need to be reset for the new stuff to come out. And we've been playing like some decks for quite a long time now, so I think that Konami will finally decide to drop the ban hammer on some decks. So let's start with the ban cards. Of course, the first card that I think everyone with no single exception will agree is that Mystic Mine should get banned. I do not know what Konami was thinking when they created this card. I mean, it's the strongest floodgate that we've ever had in the game. It's better than Vanity's Emptiness because Vanity's Emptiness, while being really strong going first, it did nothing to stop established boards. Mystic Mine can even, it does not give a goddamn of whether you're going first or you're going second, because if you're going first, you will just let your opponent special summon a monster, and you will just metaverse for a Mystic Mine they won't be able to play. And if you're going second, if you know that they have negates, you can just pay the negates and drop Mystic Mine and wait for your opponent to deck out or something, because they will not even be able to attack or use any monster effects. So it can even deal with established boards, and I think that's absurd for a floodgate. It was thought of as an idea as a burn deck at first, but then Mystic Mine was being played in Sky Strikers. Now it's even being played in Orcust. I think the card is completely out of control and it should get banned immediately. The next card is Nightmare Mermaid. I was thinking that Nightmare Mermaid should have been banned from when it was being played in Goki, because it made the extra link possible because of the best monster that pointed downwards. Now it has taken a completely different route, and Nightmare Mermaid makes it that so every deck that can special summon 2 monsters can abuse the Nightmare in the Orcust package. And even if any deck can bring out 2 monsters, they can end on 4 negates. And I don't think Konami likes this splashable engines. I mean, they've proven in the past that with engines like Zodiac that were being played in anything, that the Konami does not want that in the game. So I think by banning Mermaid, the Orcust deck is still very much alive because you can use it as its own deck, but you'll need to play more Orcust monsters in order to do the combo, but it will not be able to be splashed in any deck that can bring out 2 monsters. So I think Nightmare Mermaid makes the most sense to hit the Orcust deck. And the last ban card is Guard Dragon LP. Every monster that can bring out relevant cards from the deck, and that is not a main deck monster, which means that you can have access to it whenever you want when you have the right engine, in this case the Guard Dragon engine, I think it's an unbalanced card because we've seen combos with Brotor, we've seen Eclipse Wyvern, we've seen Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, and I don't think banning Red Eyes Darkness Metal is the answer for 2 reasons. First, it's a collateral damage, like in case with Firewall, that a lot of cards got hit in the ban list because of Firewall, and now are still in the ban list, so will probably stay there forever. So banning Red as Darkest Metal and leaving LP will just mean that Darkest Metal was banned for nothing, because some other combos do not even use this card. Some just use Brotor and they bring out Eclipse Wyvern and use it multiple times because they can bring it back with Peasty and add multiple monsters when you banish them with Levianir and the Baby Chaos Dragons. So I think LP starts all the degenerate dragon combos that lead to unbreakable boards, and I don't think there is another way to hit the Danger Thunder Dragon. They could ban Scaldred, but I don't think Scaldred should be banned. I think it's a really good card for the game, but I will get to that in a little bit later, and I think LP is the main problem. Aggro Pain is fine. Aggro Pain is really fine because you work hard to get 1 monster from the extra deck, that's fine. You work hard to get 1 negate, that's cool. But LP is the one that lets you have like 3 to 4 negates. Now for the limited cards, I will start with multi-roll, and I'll say right now that Sky Striker has been in the game for the longest out of any of the decks I'm going to discuss today. And even with limiting Kagari, the deck saw some breathing room because of Mystic Mine, but now there are a lot of decks that are topping without even Mystic Mine, so the deck it did not need Mystic Mine to be alive, it was still very good on its own. So I think limiting multi-roll not banning it would be completely overboard. It would completely kill the deck, and Konami has shown us that they love Sky Strikers. So I think limiting multi-roll, along with having one Kagari, uh, hinders the consistency of the deck and its recovery. Because multi-roll, in combination with your Area Zero, it was the way to get to Ray, so it's a play starter, which the deck really needs because it has only 8 pure starter cards and then some combo cards with Area Zero. So not only does it limit the consistency of the deck, but it also hinders um, the comeback ability, because you will have to search multi-roll. You will hardly ever draw it if it's at 1, so you will have to use engage search on multi-roll, so you miss out on maybe an Anchor or a Sharkan or something else. And also, if your opponent destroys this one multi-roll, you will either have to add it back with Kagari if you haven't already used her, and it will make Hercules base a lot more important because you will have to pop it with your Area Zero to get back your one Kagari and your one multi-roll. So it makes the Sky Striker player think a lot more about their plays, while also hindering the consistency of the deck, so you will not get to the plays as consistently as it can right now. So I think it's the perfect hit, along with banning Mystic Mine, so that Sky Strikers won't be able to stall until they get to the plays, even if multi-roll is at 1. So I think this is the perfect thing you can do. And I don't think they want to hit engage, maybe not yet. I don't think they will have to after this, but if they want, they can. But because engage gets reprinted right now, and even in Megatins, we get Dark Saviors for some reason. So I think they will probably reprint Anchor there as well. So I don't think they want to hit Anchor and Engage, which are the money cards for the deck. Most probably they will want to keep it as an engine for other decks. So I think multi-roll is the most logical way they will approach. Now, the second limited card is Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. Now, I know what a lot of you will think, that this card getting limited kills the deck. Not exactly. First of all, let's address the argument that limiting this card takes away half of its effect. Yes, that's true, but that has not stopped Konami from limiting cards. Keep in mind, Zodiac Ratpeer is at 1, and its effect is that it can summon more copies of itself from the deck. So I don't think Konami gives a damn on whether an effect will be completely useless after the ban list. And I don't think there is another way of hitting Salamangreats in a way that the deck will be not as good. Even limiting Gazelle would not do a thing. They have 10 starters right now. Yes, limit Gazelle, and they have 8 starters. And with Foxy and the rank 3 engine, there are even more ways to get to Gazelle. So I don't think that would do pretty much anything. I think if they just limit Gazelle, Salamangreats would just be the best deck of the format again. But they could either limit Sunlight Wolf. I think they could ban Stalio as well, but I don't think they're going to do that, because Stalio is like a Mixaber Invoker style of card, but just for an archetype, so I don't think it's worth banning. But just limiting Sunlight Wolf will mean that you will have to run more Jack Jaguars to be able to draw them, so that you can tutor out your Falco with your Stalio, so that Falco can replace the second effect of Sunlight Wolf that you cannot use anymore if it's at 1. So you can still do the same plays, we'll just need a lot more cards to invest in the combos. And that's what the problem with Salamangreats is, that it does so much without investing anything, and that's why it's able to plus so much. So if you commit a little bit more and you can still end on the same board, not every game like it can now, I think that's a fine way for the deck to be. I mean, it's very similar to Monarchs, like it's a budget structure deck for everyone that everyone can pick up and win while not spending a lot of money. And just like we saw the last time, they left it for 2 formats and then they dropped the ban hammer. And so I think it's going to be a very similar scenario. And the last limited card, I'll keep saying this every banlist prediction until it happens, Scaldred should go to 1. Not banning, I think banning Scaldred would be too much, because it's a fine link monster that gives a lot of breathing room for a lot of decks that need like draw power or special summoning monster from the hand. But it's when it's at multiple copies that degeneracy starts to happen, because as you can see with Danger Thunder Dragons, they play 2 and they bring them both out in the combo. So you can do a lot more with having a lot of Scaldreds. There are also the FTKs, which are not seeing play right now, but Konami doesn't want FTKs to exist, even if they're not that relevant. They destroyed Demnite FTK, even though it wasn't topping anything. So yeah, I think Scaldred should be at 1, and I think it should stay there unless I'm proven that even with 1 Scaldred we can still do degenerate stuff. Maybe then Konami will be forced to ban it. But for now, I think if we ban LP and limit Scaldred, the Danger Thunder Dragon deck will be pretty much be shifted into a pure not that pure Thunder Dragon, but a deck that relies on Thunder Dragons to build the boards, not on this Guard Dragon and have 1 Colossus, and we call it Thunder for some reason. Now, for the semi-limited cards, these 3 are debatable. I'm not quite sure if Konami wants to do that, But the community has been complaining for these ever since, not ever since they came out, but after their second wave of support came out. Nessie, Jackalope, and Tsunoko. Now, there's an argument that for the Megatins, Tsunoko has already been announced that is going to get reprinted. Jackalope might not get reprinted because it's an ultra rare. We've seen in the past that Megatins, some ultra rares don't get reprinted and their price skyrockets, like with Super Agent and some other cards. And Nessie pretty much will get reprinted because it's a secret. But I don't think that even with Megatins coming out, semi-limiting these three, you will not kill anything. I mean, everyone will pick them up, even if there are two, because it's still a great engine. But you will either have to play 3 Mothman or you play Bigfoot again, and you won't have a consistent package of 9 cards that will get you to all the plays you need every time while also giving you board presence. I mean, 6 and 9 is a different number, and semi-limiting these will mean that you will not see them every single time. And that's pretty much what Konami wants to do with these splashable engines. They want them to exist in a manner that they're not able to be seen by the deck every single time. That's what they don't want, because it's like with Brilliant Fusion, they limited that because it's searchable, but you will never hard draw it because it's at 1. Like, not never, but you will hardly ever draw it anymore. So if your Scorpio gets hit, you will not see Brilliant Fusion. So that's what Konami wants to do with all these splashable engines, make it so that you need some more effort in order to get to them. And I think semi-limiting these 3 are pretty much what Konami should do. I don't think dangers are that big of a problem as a lot of people think. I think they're great for the game. They create originality in the game, because we've seen that with dangers, a lot of decks that were never even thought of as tier 1 managed to do one. The best example is Lunalights being able to win a YCS because of the danger engine. So I think they're okay for the game, but this adjustment would mean that if you want to run 10 dangers, you would have to run 2 of each, 3 Mothman and 1 Bigfoot. Mothman is still a great card, so I don't see a reason why you don't want to run it. So I think it would make more sense for this to happen. And for unlimited cards, just 3 cards that are pretty much not doing anything, and I don't think getting them at 3 would change anything. First one was Shrit. Shrit, pretty much. Necros have been topping quite a few, to be honest. I think they won a Nationals too. But I don't think playing 2 Shrit, which they will play 2 Shrit, would like skyrocket the ceiling of the deck. Unicorn 3 would be like the breaking point for the deck. Perhaps not quite. I'm not quite sure, but I don't think they should risk it. So I think Shrit is fine at 3. Next one's Construct. Shadows don't do anything, even when they're used as an engine. Pretty much Winda is the playmaker now, because it's a card that can stop your opponent. Construct doesn't do anything right now. So I think she should go to 3. Maybe it will give pure Shadows a chance. And the last card is Chaos Emperor Dragon. It got its errata. It's very mediocre right now. Some Danger Thunder Dragons played that run Melody of the Awakening Dragon, but it's pretty much a replacement for the price card, because the price card is extremely expensive, so they don't want to spend that much money on that. So they choose to play Chaos Emperor instead, but I don't think even if they had more than 1, they would play more than 1, because its effect is very restrictive, and it's just for its the fact that it's a dragon, that is searchable with Melody, and that it has a BLS summoning condition, so you can banish the cards from your graveyard to get their effects. So that's the only reason it's being played. Its effect, it will never be activated. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the most logical method and the way that Konami should approach this ban list. There is also a chance that they won't do anything, but because of the World Championship. But I think Mystic Mine should get banned. Out of all these, if something should happen out of all of these, please just ban Mystic Mine. If you don't do anything else, that's fine, but please ban Mystic Mine, because this card is not a good thing for the game. But everything else, maybe you can wait a ban list. Maybe if you want the World Championship to not be a complete mess, because this will affect the combined ban list we have with the OCG, and we will not have any idea of what the best deck will be if this happens. Yes, maybe Konami won't do that, and they won't give us a big ban list now. But maybe they will, and we'll have to wait and see. Pretty much we'll get to find out really soon after the European WCQ ends. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Leave us your thoughts down in the comments, what you think will happen, if you agree with anything I said or disagree, and why, and give us your feedback, and we'll try to give you the best content possible. So yep, thank you for watching. See you next time.